My name is Sarah Woodbury, and today we are talking about early Christian priories and abbeys.
What is the difference between an abbey, a priory, and just a regular church?
The churches and wells that we've talked about so far were used by the general population. Monastic houses in early Christianity served the same purpose they did in the later Middle Ages, in that they were religious complexes where monks and nuns lived, worked, and worshipped. These monasteries were often founded by the same saints who founded the churches and wells. If you recall from the video about St. Cubby, he is credited with the creation of a healing well on the Shin Peninsula. But he established a monastery at Holyhead on Anglesey. The same was true of St. Cereal, who we talked about, who had a well at Penmon, but also established a monastery there and on Puffin Island. Also working in the same time period on Anglesey were two more saints, St. Meched and St. Capho, both of whom founded monasteries of their own. In this time period, the church as a vocation was not only popular by modern standards, but commonplace. People could join a monastery or a convent at any time in their lives. Often they did so later in life, after already marrying and having children. Priests in this time weren't necessarily celibate either. In the Irish church, in fact, being a nun or a monk was not necessarily a barrier to marriage at all. Scholars refer to Irish monasticism as permeable, in that the monasteries were open to allowing students and children within the walls for an education without requiring them to become monks or nuns. These students were then allowed to leave and live within the community and were welcome back in their old age to retire in peace. This style of monasticism allowed for the monastery to connect with and become a part of the community at large, and likely was one of the reasons Ireland so easily converted to Christianity. This permeability appears to have been less true in Wales. But one scholar writes that when thousands left the world and became monks, they very often did so as clansmen, dutifully following the example of their chief. Bishoprics, canonries, and parochial benefices passed from one to another member of the same family, and frequently from father to son. This tribal character is a feature which Irish and Welsh monasteries had in common. In other words, religious sites tied to family lands tended to be run like a family business between a small number of landowning Welsh families. These are very different qualities from the monasteries in the later Middle Ages, which were centrally organized according to, for example, the rule of St. Benedict, and owed allegiance to mother houses in France and Italy. There is only one convent of nuns dating to the 6th century that we know about, and that is of St. Gwenfrewi, otherwise known as Winifred. It is her story and her healing well and abbey that we'll be talking about next week. Thanks for watching my video. You can click on the playlist or subscribe to my channel to see more. There'll be a new video next week. If you want to check out my books, click on the link to my webpage.